I said the earlier you get them, the cheaper they are. Earplugs, very important. You don't want to go deaf when you're 40.
My mom thinks that I sing Patsy Cline songs in public because she's fairly religious and her rock and roll stops at Elvis.
I usually will take the schedule out of the Austin Chronicle and sort of make an itinerary for myself and know that at 9:30 I want to make sure to be on 6th Street at a certain club to see that person.
The film, I hope, triggers an emotional response that people can actually connect to their own lives.
One of the things I love about all of these films is
that you're in it.
Well, that's one of the things I adore.
I'll put it this way, I always look forward to the festival and I'm always glad when it's over.
My name is Malcolm Milligan. I think people know me primarily for Storyville. I can tell you that South by Southwest can be a valuable way to be seen. It's also, for some bands that are in the process of signing, it's a good way to showcase for their record company and the whole bit. Anyway, I've done South by Southwest a few times, and I'm glad to do this one this year. And it's the first time, actually, I'll be doing it under my own name.
My name is Lance Myers, and the film that I have in the South by Southwest Film Conference is about a 3-minute long animated piece. It took me about a year and a half to complete the animation. I wrote and directed it as well. For a director in my particular situation, I don't have access to sets, actors, fancy equipment like the camera you're using right now. And also film is very expensive. So if I were to write something that I wanted to make into a film, I think I'd have a difficult time doing it. I really don't even know that much about it, to tell you the truth. I don't know anything about getting on location, setting up sound, equipment, this sort of thing. So I draw it. When I draw it, I don't need actors other than voice actors, which I don't underestimate. It takes quite a talent to get a good voice going. But I don't need to worry about lighting. I don't need to worry about setting up a set. I don't need to worry about everybody's schedule or making sure that a plane didn't fly over during that particular shot and this sort of thing.
Everybody put your hands together for Slagor.
We see them as they were when the universe was very young. Their appearance now is an illusion. Their state of existence at this very moment is unknowable to us.
The Astronomer is a very quiet piece with really just some narration, a lot of ambient shots, a lot of long shots, some very quiet underscoring. By contrast, the second one I'm working on is going to be a shoe-in for Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Animated Festival. Gutsman is the name of it. It's about a superhero whose adventures always wind up spilling intestines all over the place. So we're going from what some might consider kind of a highbrow topic to straight into sophomore humor and straight into the gross factor.
Oh, the Guts Man! Oh. Stop this criminal act at once! This is private property, Gutsman, which makes you the criminal.
The film that I have in the South by Southwest Film Conference was completed last December. So I'm very happy to be a part of the conference. I'm very happy to have it finally finished, too.
We're not doing it as they would, say, in Cuba or Puerto Rico and Colombia.
We don't really try to do anything just for the sake of trying to be different. That combination of energies, it's just really exciting. I mean, the benefit of that is that you end up with a really dynamic record.
Motel room on borrowed time to write the words again. Down to pin it on your dress. The gate opens at 10. The way I think of wishes, all that I could be.
To put all these musicians together, on one record, and to play all these songs and just mix together all the different styles. I think it's for a musician, it is a stretch, but it's exciting. It's exciting to go into territory that I'm not that familiar with.
In 1998, Los Super 7 was formed and made one of the most critically acclaimed albums of that year, winning a Grammy Award for Best Mexican-American Musical Performance. Los Super 7, originally a one-off project, has now grown into a truly global phenomenon. 4 of the original 7 are back: David Hidalgo and Cesar Rosas of Los Lobos, and Ruben Ramos and Rick Trevino, both well-established singers in their own right. This time out, however, the breadth of the project is much greater, encompassing musics from many other Latin American countries, including Cuba, Puerto Rico, Peru, and Brazil. International superstars Caetano Veloso, Raúl Malo, and Susana Baca are new Super 7 members, each adding their own incomparable style and sensibility. For the better part of a year, the major participants in this project, including the brilliant arranger, musician Alberto Salas, and producer Los Lobos veteran Steve Berlin, poured over hundreds of traditional songs and carefully selected material that they felt would be appropriate. After choosing the songs and writing several new ones, the players met and jammed at length in the studio until their various traditional roots and influences dissolved and an entirely fresh musical language emerged.
Music is universal language. Everybody got the feeling.
I mean, music to me is all related.
I think there is a commonality among all these people. I mean, everybody, every single musician that's been part of this record, everyone has a giving spirit. And if you have that and a willingness to experiment and a willingness to take risks, not a lot can go wrong.
Por decirme, ay que yo lo digo, ay por decirme, ay que yo lo digo, ay por decirme gato, ay mi compadrito, por ser un canalla, es un sinvergüenza, por ser embustero, por decirme gato, yo lo voy a matar, ay Dios mi compadre.
There have been some remarkable creative accidents, and that then has inspired singers and players to sort of explore further, and it sort of becomes this new thing. Caetano, oddly enough, when this record was in the idea stage, there were like 2 or 3 people that I thought about as, ideal participants. There's lots of amazing percussion players, but it was just something about his work and his music and the way that he approaches what he does that I thought would fit this concept.
Da margarina, da Carolina, da gasolina. Você precisa saber de mim, baby, baby. Eu sei que é assim, baby.
The way it happened today, I love it, It could be embarrassing or intimidating, but it was not.
Precisa tomar sorvete na lanchonete.
Guys whom I met here today, I loved them. They were musically so receptive and sweet and so creative. Musically and personally, I really felt good.
Baby, baby, há quanto tempo, baby, baby, há quanto tempo.
My name is Jesse Schmall, and my film is Sub. It is a adventure about a tiny Russian submarine that invades an Italian piazza. And when the characters in the piazza get a hold of the sub, madness ensues. The film was made over about 5 months or so. It was my senior film at Rhode Island School of Design, and I made it using its ink drawings on Xerox on the cell, and painted and then shot on film with an Oxbow. I guess most people are pretty amused. Some people will come up to me and say, and other people will come up to me and say something more like, but I think people like it. It was kind of bad timing because the headlines with that Russian submarine were coming out right around the time I was showing my film. I think people laugh, and some people, kind of express sympathy at the end. It's kind of cool to see how people react to it. I wasn't expecting it. The year before I made the film, I was studying abroad in Rome with a school program, and so I spent the year pretty much taking pictures and drawing in sketchbooks. And so when I came back to school and I had to think of an idea for a film, I knew I wanted it to take place in a piazza. So I was working on a whole other idea at first with this guy in a factory, and that wasn't really going anywhere. So then I realized that I sort of just cared most about doing drawings and telling stories about certain characters that I liked from my sketchbooks. So I just picked out a few characters that I liked the most, and I guess then when I came up with the sub, I had a sketch of a sub, and for some reason thought, wow, what if it was really small and in the fountain in the center of the square? And then that's where everything sort of came together, because it all had a vehicle to link everything and to move the story along. So then I just figured out what each character would do with the sub and how it would solve whatever problem they were encountered with, and just sort of tied it all together and made sure I had fun drawing. This was my senior film at school. So I had a couple other films before that, my junior year, and one of those showed on MTV on a show called Cartoon Sushi that's not around anymore. And then a couple of really short ones were, maybe they still are, on a website called level13.com. And then right now I'm working with a couple of other graduates from school on a pilot for Cartoon Network. So look for that in the summer. We don't have a title yet, so I can't tell you what to look for, but it's got a bunch of animals and hot dogs.
Blap blap zap blap. Blap blap blap. Blap blap zap blap.
My name's Ari Gold, and I have a film called Helicopter, which is at South by Southwest. It'll be my second trip to South by Southwest. I had a film there called Culture 2 years ago in 1999, which that one was a 60-second film, which I shot in one afternoon, one take, no cuts. Culture was a comedy, and this one is not exactly a comedy, although there are some funny moments. It's a film about the death of my mother. She died in a helicopter crash with the rock music promoter Bill Graham. Because she died with someone famous, we were brought into the world of famous people for a couple days. And the film traces, the film is centered around actually this concert that took place for Bill Graham, who, you know, he had all kinds of bands credited him with their success, or at least their financial success, and the Grateful Dead and Santana and 30 other bands came and paid tribute to him at this concert where 500,000 people came, and the film is about trying to wade through all of this media stuff and rock music and so on, and remember our mother who disappeared in this accident. I used friends to play my brother and sister and me in the film. I initially thought I wanted to play myself in the film, but I thought if I was going to act in it, my brother and sister should act in it too. And my sister was willing to do it. She's an actress, actually. And my brother did not want to do it. No way in hell. He told me, well, did he want to go through that? So I ended up casting friends to play us, although in the end, I ended up doing my own voice in the film, and my brother did the music for the film, and my sister actually performed the voice of our mother in the film. So the three of us ended up being involved in a way, although it's not our faces on screen.
I thought this girl loved me. It looks like I'm going to spend my life waiting too. You know, last time I saw you, I didn't know it'd be the last time I'd see you. But I really wanted to ask you, was it worth the wait? I mean, did Bill live up to your expectations? I guess he never had time to disappoint you.
Film, I hope, triggers an emotional response that people can actually connect to their own lives. When the film works, and for some people it works and for some it doesn't, when the film works, that's what it does. I mean, I've had people come up to me and say, you know, I called my brother, who I haven't spoken to in a year, after seeing your film. It made me realize how important family is, and that's really nice for me to feel that.
Mom, it's Ari. And we all laughed. So I saw you for a second, and then you were gone.
Oh, I don't love nobody. Feel the cold wind blow.
If you want to see the film, come to see it at South by Southwest, or you can also look at my website, which is called arigoldfilms.com, and there's information about my films. So that's it.
I think Melody's great, but I miss you. I hate living this way without you. Well, I think Melody's great, but I miss you. Lying
Josie.
Josie. Josie.
Josie.
Josie!
Is that Josie? It took 6 whole hours and 5 long days for all your lies to come undone. And those 3 small words were way too late. 'Cause you can't see that I'm the one.
I'm Alexandra. I own New Bohemia on South Congress and make a living selling yesterday's junk and today's junk, but junk in only the best sense of the word. Well, on South Congress, we have a lot of out-of-town people, out of the country people. We get people from Japan, people from France, people from Sweden, lots of bands in from out of town, and that can be fun. I try to keep in mind what my best friend told me that I have to remember. My best friend's Danish and lives in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and she told me that little boys all over the world grow up wanting all their lives to wear cowboy outfits, and so I have to remember that when I get 15 or 20 requests per hour for cowboy boots, spurs, cowboy hats, longhorns. So we try to do our best, although of course growing up in Texas, I didn't think that was very exciting all of my life. Usually every year we get 2 or 3 bands who are being followed by a camera crew for whatever. I don't know if they're doing these online, little documentaries of their trip, or whether they're making ads for themselves or journalistic pieces online. But pretty much every year we get filmed at some point with bands getting followed around with movie cameras inside the store. But it's different year to year. I mean, it's good for business, but it's not, it's like having a Saturday worth of sales every day for a week here, but it's not, it doesn't make or break us, but it's good for business, and it's nice to meet a bunch of people from out of town and from all over the world.
My name is Dane Picard. The title of my film is Space Needle Twice Around. Space Needle Twice Around. It's 9.4 seconds. I just finished its companion piece, the Eiffel Tower, and it seemed quite obvious. I love this Space Needle. I lived in Seattle for years. It's like most people, when they watch it, they want to see it again right away. It was originally made for the internet, and my friends liked it. There's the movie. Hey, what else are you gonna do with this? So I made a 35mm print from it. Another thing I was gonna do, there's a whole lot of them on TakeOneFilms.com. Yeah, it looks good. Oh. Terrible. It's like it's having nothing to do with all this footage.
Here it is, only Monday afternoon, and on Key GSR we're getting smashed. With John Hyatt though, and he's a 12-stepper, and we're smashing guitars, and it's all okay. We left off with Nashville's John Hyatt, actually originally from Indiana, but he's based in Nashville. And this is a woman who's based in Nashville on 107.1 Key GSR from the disc Glimmer. It's our Austin to go pal, Kim Ritchie. I'm Jody Denberg, Program Director for 107.1 KGSR Radio Austin. My relationship with South by Southwest is sort of interesting because the folks who started South by Southwest, Nick Barbaro, Lewis Black, Roland Swenson, Brent Grelke, were all people that I knew in college around 1980. And we all went our separate ways when we graduated college. Some went to form or start the Austin Chronicle, and then some of them who were at the Austin Chronicle started South by Southwest. So though I've never been part of South by Southwest, I have a good relationship with the conference. I think most people who buy a wristband are aware that they don't guarantee admission to the club. So if there's someone that you really want to see and you've purchased your wristband specifically to see that person, the #1 recommendation would be to show up early. And then also pace yourself. And I usually will take the schedule out of the Austin Chronicle and sort of make an itinerary for myself and know that at 8 o'clock I want to be at the La Zona Rosa to see this person, and then at 9:30 I want to make sure to be on 6th Street at a certain club to see that person, and try to make a pace that's, you know, reasonable and doable. And I'm not only saying this to toot KGSR's horn, but during the days of the festival, we usually have between 15 and 20 major artists playing on the air. Last year, from Patti Smith to Patty Griffin to Gomez to, I can't even remember all the people. So if you tune in on those afternoons, you will hear a lot of the performers playing, and it gives you a taste of what's going to be happening, and you can make a decision for yourself on whether that's an artist you're going to want to hear.
This is our first time at South by Southwest. The name of the band is Los Lonely Boys.
Lonely Boys.
Los Lonely Boys, yeah. Los Lonely Boys.
See, we gotta talk into the microphone.
They gotta talk to me and to you at the same time.
So I'm talking to his chest over here.
Well, I'll tell you, if you want to do South by Southwest like a pro, you have to have the right balance of knowing where you're going to go and what you're going to see, and when to let it go entirely and go with the flow. One thing that we used to do that I always had the best time with at South by Southwest was we had a rule: one band, one club, one song. And let me tell you how much music you can get in seeing that. And we would be very strict about it. We'd go out in groups, go into the club, hear the song, hear the band, and as soon as they were done, you'd be out into the next one. And you can cram in a lot of music that way. Trying to get around town traffic-wise is a little dicier. The parking around 6th Street during South by Southwest is almost non-existent, and I wish the bus service were a little better at night to be able to assist on that, but taxi cabs are going to be the way in and out. Don't bother with the limo. I've done the limo routine it's wonderful any other time of the year, but they're not going to be able to get down to 6th Street, and nobody's going to be able to see you getting out of that limo, and that's what you really want. And basically, I really think it's most important to just go with the flow, because some of the absolute best times I've ever had at South by Southwest were doing the one band, one club, one song, and I have stumbled on bands that just made my heart dance with one song. Never heard of them again, but I'll always remember the night.
My mom thinks that I sing Patsy Cline songs in public because she's fairly religious and her rock and roll stops at Elvis. But how would you describe what, well, I have to hide the Sexy Finger Champs because she wouldn't enjoy the amount of flesh that I show to people.
Or how loud it is.
Or
I think it might be too loud
we
for her.
only use a few bad words, just a few. And, but a lot of movement.
So just roll over, baby. My turn to be on top.
Because we try to be superhero anime girls, but usually the wigs come off because they're so hot, and then we just kind of look
Drag
like
queen superheroes.
Yeah.
Well, something like that.
I'm so sad. I look like a drag queen to you.
No, I'm talking about me.
You usually look like Shazam or Ampaman.
Everybody knows who Ampaman is. Well, although you will see us dressed in silly costumes, sometimes not much a silly costume. You might see a fight between a man and an amplifier. You might see a
thumb war.
You might see a thumb war. You might see Carrie's clothes come off. You might see Snoopy's clothes come off if you're lucky. If you're lucky.
You'll wish you could see Rebecca's clothes come off.
Yes,
but she usually is just really happy and bobs her head from side to side.
But you will be rocked.
You'll be rocked.
To ignore the boy next door. He's such a dream, but I'm only 14.
Well, Carrie dreams up these absurd songs in her head. They just come to her, and she brings, she'll bring us or actually she comes and brings me the music and hums it. Can you play this on the guitar? Huh? Okay, and then we figure it out, and then we bring it to the band, and then that's basically the birth of a song. It's basically born in her head. She writes all the lyrics and the melodies. It's kind of, I've never done anything like that. Usually we have music and then the melody comes later, but she's got the whole thing in her head.
Yeah, I usually have the tune in my head. And my obsessive love of, space aliens and Captain Jean-Luc Picard, who I do love, and if you're watching, please come and love me. I don't know. I guess because I am a repressed high school teacher during the day, that I have to let my naughty sexual side come out somewhere, and it comes out in the rock.
Yeah.
My name is Michael Baer, and Stan Steen and I directed a documentary film called No Early Birds, which is screening this year at the 2001 South by Southwest Film Festival.
Good for you.
I think our first title was Yard Sailing, which I liked. The reason why No Early Birds stuck was just because it's a very garage sale term. If you garage sell, or if you've ever had a garage sale in the papers, that's like the first thing that people put typically is No Early Birds, which doesn't mean anything anymore. It's like one of those things that you do because it seems like everyone else is doing it. But anyone that actually goes to like an early bird that goes and makes a living at it, they just laugh at that. That doesn't mean anything. It actually maybe even invites them to come earlier because they think you have something to offer.
That's it. It's me against the pros. There's a bunch of different pros out there trying to get this stuff.
No Early Birds is an art film. I mean, the music is done by drums and tuba. The soundtrack is a cool soundtrack for a kind of a niche-y little film.
Early birds are gonna be crucified. We'll put them out front so everyone will know how many of them died.
And it's really about a few people in particular. Of course, it's garage sales, the subject. So there's a lot kind of out there as far as characters, off-kilter subjects, if you will. So I think people, if they go to see just a real cut and dry little film, they'll be disappointed. It's more of a ride. I mean, the characters, Roxanne, Dale, who are the main characters in the film, really push it through all the way to the end. And by the end of it, you do walk away with a little bit of understanding of what makes them tick.
What the garage sale, they're studying technological obsolescence. You look at stuff, everything that ends up in garage sales is mostly obsolete. That's why it's for sale cheap.
We started it in 1998, and we are just now screening it in March of 2001. just the amount of time it took to make the film caused us to kind of, in a way, almost, I wouldn't say retreat or settle or compromise, but it did, by the end of it, we were just like, it's done. Because, as you know, a documentary doesn't have a script, and this one especially was difficult for us to kind of weave and create and keep a good rhythm. I mean, it took us literally to finish the cut 2 years. You know, it takes a long time, and I think we had a hiatus of probably about 3 months was the longest time we just walked away from it. Because, you know, we were just broke, and you know, Stan and I were, the co-director, spent a lot of time trying to edit this thing, and neither of us have ever cut a film before. And so we definitely bit off a big chunk.
I have a nice mask to go with my mask at home. I only paid 10 cents for it. Of course, I have a nice snake that was only 50 cents. I got this beautiful sweater that's never been worn, and it was only $2. And I have this nice sundress, and it was $3.
All personal items.
Clothes.
Yeah, toothbrushes.
No
underwear.
Yeah.
Nothing anybody's worn or put in their body.
sale of a person that I worked with
No.
for several years, and that family had all their personal items out. It just about killed me to see them doing that.
The hardest part, I think, for documentary film on an independent level is everyone asking you about it. Because, especially a documentary, because there is no really light at the end of the tunnel, especially when you don't have any kind of real clear story. Gnarly Birds is about garage sale culture, and we found characters. So the hardest part was you know, 6 months. How's the film going? Oh, you know, we're still editing. We're going to go shooting this weekend, and you know, you're still shooting. And then a year later, how's the film going? Or what are you up to, Mike? We're still making this movie about garage sales. Oh, you're still working on that. And then, you know, a year and a half later, and then 2 years later, you're finally done, and then no one's asking you about it.
These bottles here can't be filled. They're ones where you have to buy the whole bottle, and then you throw the bottle away when you're done. Somebody probably paid fairly good money for that, but it's not the sort of thing I'm looking for, so I better go look for something else, see what else there is.
One of the first steps we did with Gnarly Birds was we built a website, gnarlybirds.com. It's just kind of a fun little site, shows some neat photographs of sales. We also have a trailer up on the website, QuickTime Movie. So if you have a fast connection, you can go there and see the trailer. But you know, it's a low budget marketing tool for us. We utilize it. And it also will have information about the film. It's just, you know, synopsis and just a little bit of background information on us, the filmmakers.
Put up your crap, boys, put it in a box. We're gonna sell it real cheap, make a couple of bucks.
The music for Gnarly Birds was done by drums and tuba. They played out of Boston for probably about 5 years, maybe longer. I directed their first music video, Fist of Spaghetti, out at Willie Nelson's ranch. I was fortunate to have them become, you know, available to me to do the score for the film, and we did it in a really cool way. I mean, we didn't have money for a soundtrack. So I shot the video for him, the music video for him, and I did it for free. And so to pay back the favor, I just sent them the movie, and they went. They're in New York now, but they're doing very well. They're very popular. They have probably like 4 albums out, and they're a very successful touring band, and they have a very big following here in Austin. And they're one of my favorite bands, absolutely.
You end up making a few enemies doing this. I'm sort of a maverick. I'm not one of the, quote, professionals. People say I'm an expert at it. What you have at garage sales is you have the carrion, the dead meat of our materialistic culture, the stuff that's mainly worthless, good for nothing. I see some buzzards circling.
You can see the forest for the trees.
Sexual devices.
People that put these signs on these poles ought to have enough responsibility about themselves to come back and take them down.
If you are a pack rat, please do your sons and daughters a favor and unpack.
You know, I gotta drink Coca-Colas and smoke cigarettes. They're filming me, honey, not you. Did you get all the good stuff? I was here first, thank you, bye.
If I don't get it, somebody else will.
At the end, is a music, is a universal language. I mean, like definitely. I mean, that's the way we want to project it. You know, music is just like it's not for a certain group. You just like it's not for Latino. It's not for just like black people. It's just like something universal, something for everyone. You know.
Everybody jump on. Con permiso, caballero, llegó el aniquilador de Puchiro. Give it up, everybody jump on. Repetimos nuevamente ese coro, por favor. Señorita, a mí me gusta su...
I've nothing to say. I have chance for you and you never look at me again. Why do you get so high from me? We never died until loved you like I always did. You have changed your hair and your eyes are not the same. Tell me why do they have changed? I am here. I'm alone 'cause you left me, and I do not understand. Tell me why you have changed. Tell me why. Tell me why you have changed.
Well, Kid 66 has been named the best new band in Venezuela. They just won the Festival de Nuevas Bandas, which is like, the most important festival in Venezuela, which like promotes new bands and new sounds. They're coming with a huge, like, totally new, sound.
People think of Latin music as just, salsa, merengue, tejano, regional music, and it's really much more than that. Latinos are representing rock alternative music throughout the world, here in the United States and South America, Puerto Rico, and it's time that the music really is looked at more as an alternative genre and not labeled so much as just being Latin. What we're really trying to do at South by Southwest is show the mainstream industry that it can sell just as big as any mainstream act in America, and showcase them to the industry that usually doesn't get to see them outside of America.
Imagina que un disco no lo tengas que pagar. Imagina el internet sin entrar al pornosite. Imagina una chamba que se pague sin jalar. Imagina que nunca te pudieras masturbar. Pero no lo es así. Y nunca lo será. Por eso.
It's not so much that what you've written is contemptibly bad. It's almost a given. What surprises me is that you're able to find your way here every week without assistance. Because on my way here today, I actually had a thought. I realized that when the bulk of you fail as writers, only then will you really be able to understand the characters you now blithely paint with these broad, smug strokes.
My name is David Von Eycken, director of Bullet in the Brain.
And at that,
the man with the pistol shot Anders right in the head.
Bullet's it's about a professor of English, writing professor who leaves his classroom and goes into a bank and gets shot in the head. And as soon as he gets himself shot, it's about what goes on in his mind before he dies, in that split second before he's
Once
dead.
in the brain, the bullet came under the mediation of brain time, which gave Anders the leisure to contemplate a scene in a phrase he would have abhorred, pass before his eyes.
And this has been really one of those sort of life-changing events. About a month ago, we won this $1 million film festival, that Hypnotic, which is a new media studio. It's essentially an arm or a component of Universal Pictures, which has gone out there into the web to try to get people like myself, who are unknown but working in the business, trying to get new talent that hasn't been really tapped into, and see what it's made of, and see if they give it a chance, what will come of it.
If you take nothing from here, understand that smithing the rough into the polished has to call you, not you it.
You're going to see, competitions like this are just sort of testing the waters to see if are there really good ideas out there that Hollywood, a machine that needs to feed itself constantly with product, are overlooking. And I think the answer is obviously yes. You can show your stuff online, and technology's not great now, but it's getting better by the day.
Sorry, sir. 3 o'clock. Bank's closed.
You read?
I am begging you. It is as important to know, not to write, as it is to write.
Can you read?
There has to be an honesty, a truth in your words. They have to scream out to be read, for that is the only thing that interests me. And I'm telling you now, I do not hear it. There is a difference between the king died and the queen died, and the king died and the queen died of a broken heart. And to you, that is everything. And you're showing me you do not even care to know the difference. Your story must be raw. You must layer that broken heart, so the fabric of what you tell cannot exist without it. And if you have nothing to say, you can just tell me, and I'll arrange for you to get into some medical school. But do not make me suffer this again. And remember, no matter what they tell you, life happens without a pause.
My name is Joel Frenzer, and my film is Brisket. It's a dark fable, I would say. It is pretty. There are funny moments, but the overall feeling is kind of a little scary and kind of disorienting.
Look, how about I fix you up some nice, hard, skewered, plump brisket? No.
It was a physical challenge to make this as well, and I don't regret it though. I think it was an interesting exercise in animation, doing it kind of, I wouldn't say the hard way, but a different way. But it wasn't. It was a hard way. I used charcoal and these acrylic washes to kind of make these more, I don't know, scary-ish characters. And so I had to work big based on the way I was applying the marks and everything. I actually have, this is one still from Brisket, and it's quite large. And there were 4,000 of these that went into it. And you can see this is thick paper because I had to apply a lot of washes to it, a lot of watercolors. And so each page is pretty heavy. The entire project weighs about 1,000 pounds.
There are some days when all you need is a nice cup of Earl Grey.
Well, what I'm going to do is basically put on minor gear to protect myself. This is from any splatterage. It's mostly just preventative. Nothing normally ever happens. But you've got to get prepared for it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be right. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with what we're doing or even how we're doing it. But that's a risk you take. I mean, when you're pioneering a new field, you're going to get some gaff from people. That's just a fact. But I think doing this will help. You know, I think it'll bring more people to the business, but also it'll show that, well, I'm not out to hurt anybody. I'm not out to injure anybody. That's not it. The end result is what we're trying to complete, which is simply body art. Something to talk about means, how did you do that? Well, we did it with a firearm. That's all.
Oh, jeez!
Sweet Jesus, did you have to shoot up the entire citizenry? You know, I've been meaning to talk to you about our deal. You know, what are you planning to do with that?
People remember evil long after they've forgotten good.
Choose this path.
They told me you were dead.
I am. You ever killed a mountain boy?
Sit down here. Let's get comfy for the night, boy.
I was meant to walk this world. You weren't. You should have done us both a favor. Killed me the first time. People definitely remember evil.
I'm Dan Shaw, Daniel Jason Shaw, and we did a movie called The Journeyman. I'm Brunson Green. I'm producer of the film.
I'm James Crowley, the writer-director of The Journeyman, and kind of what they said, I've been batting the script around for a couple of years, a lot of years actually, and we all have our background together, kind of coming up through the ranks in production here in Austin, and kind of all over the nation, but primarily in Austin, and just slowly working on big Hollywood movies to pay the bills, and on the side doing our own projects independently. We've all been involved in probably every department in film.
We shot some before Thanksgiving and then mostly between Thanksgiving and Christmas because there were no movies going on in the Austin area, so we could utilize the crew in Austin. And also a lot of actors are off from TV series, so there's a lot more availability. Very few movies start right after Thanksgiving. Usually they end right before the Thanksgiving break. So we kind of use that to our advantage since we didn't have the money to pay actors like Barry Corbin or Willie Nelson huge amounts of money. If they loved the script and liked the idea and wanted to come ride some horses, then they're a lot more open to it if there's nothing else going on.
A lot of it stemmed for me from going to see action adventure movies or art house movies. And why do the action adventure movies have to be so stupid and such ridiculous plots and lack of character development? And then why do a lot of the art house movies or independent films that we've experienced seeing at all the festivals, why do they have to be really boring? And
I said, he's never even heard of me.
If it disturbs you, shoot him.
Probably a little bit out of ignorance, we were like, well, why can't we just do a big Hollywood-style budgeted movie, but with some more impactful characters and a little more character development, and just do it low budget so we have control over it. And I think it was a lot bigger than, we knew it was a big undertaking doing it, but you never really know till you're out there. And there's horses falling down hills and people flying off over the front and explosions and everything. So, but that's probably, I guess, where it came from. Yeah, it was pretty rough. We shot it out in Terra-Lingua and Lajitas, Texas area, Big Bend National Park, and it was pretty remote. It was a big undertaking for any film. I'm working on a big Hollywood movie right now, and they didn't even want to look at that area of Texas. They thought that logistically it was too hard, and I was just kind of sitting there listening to conversations like, well, you know, we did that for so much little money and made it work. You know, it would be so easy for y'all. But they're probably right. You know, and Lord knows Brunson was trying to. He did a good job of communicating that it was pretty tough place to film. But I think that. The one good thing versus a lot of independent movies is we didn't have a lot of money to spend on production design, costumes and all that. The people that we had working in those departments were like magicians with that money, the way they stretched it out. But at the end of the day, we pointed the camera out there in West Texas, and I mean, you've got the greatest production designer in the world at that point, you know, with all the mountains and the blue sky and everything else. It was pretty cool.
Judge not, lest ye be judged. Matthew, 1st chapter, 7th verse.
There's a scene where there's like a very violent act happens, and then, you know, we go away for a while and we come back, and the men that have come upon the carnage of the violent act are kind of forced to camp in that area, I guess, and they're sitting around this campfire, and the 5 characters are all dealing with it in their own way. One of which is an obnoxious kind of the true bad guy of the movie, and his way to deal with it is to kind of be belligerent, and he drinks a lot, and he kind of goes after a weaker, dumber member of the group, you know, trying to show off what a tough guy he is.
You ever killed a man, boy? No. What about you, Mr. Chatterbox? You ever kill a man? I doubt it.
What about you? What do you mean you shot and killed Dad?
The night we shot that, it was probably 35 degrees out and the craziest windstorm. I mean, I've lived in Texas my whole life and a lot of other places where I've seen a lot of weather, but this was unbelievable. And I mean, we basically all looked at each other like we're going to have to shut down. I mean, you know, it was so much wind and sand just flying everywhere. And we were on the banks of the Rio Grande, so it was like almost like the beach. And it was just hitting us so hard. And, you know, of course, I'm like, we have to do it. We can do it. And everyone's like, we want to, but this is crazy. But all the actors just hung in there all night long, and we'd shoot for, man, 10 minutes, and then it would get so bad. I mean, literally, the camera, you can still see the film and the dailies and everything. It would just get brown, and we'd have to stop. We'd all hunker down, and that was a great moment. I mean, for me, and the performances we got out of everybody that night were amazing, and a couple of characters that didn't have a lot to do during that scene really made the most of it, and kind of brought a lot to their characters. And so for me, seeing all those guys come to life and taking my idea and making it much better and bigger than I ever thought it could be, and then the crew all there, everyone's sticking behind us, and you know, they're kind of like, man, we're already out here, sand's in our hair anyway, what good does it do, you know, go home now. So we stuck it out, and that's probably there's a lot of moments for me that mean a lot to me, but that was pretty cool.
You can check out our film and also the schedule for South by Southwest on journeymanmovie.com.
Or southbysouthwest.com.
Buy one of them and you get 5 free. 5 free. And this package, this one costs how much? $1.80. So you get 5 packs of firecrackers, 6, because you get to keep the one you bought as well as the 5 you get free.
So basically what it is, you're going to get 300 firecrackers for $1.80.
At 30 cents a pack. Now we could sell them for 30 cents a pack, but then we don't have anything to paint on the stand.
My name's Jim Stedman, and
I've got a film in South by Southwest called Buy One, Get Five Free, Texas Fireworks Stands. And basically it's a documentary about people that have decided to spend 2 weeks of their life sitting by the side of the road selling fireworks.
This will probably be our last season. One of the drawbacks from a fireworks stand is to be able to get the location that you want, you have to work for Christmas. And we haven't spent Christmas at home in 5 years.
One of the things that I found interesting, this is my first documentary, the process of getting people to talk I thought was extremely interesting, and almost unanimously, the people that did not want to talk when we first walked up ended up being the people that talked the most and gave us our best stories.
You listen to these guys who come in and they talk about how they're about to go show their boy what it was like when they shot fireworks as a kid, and they're like missing a finger. And yeah, I blew off my finger with a black cat, or look at this scar. My favorite stories are the fireworks scar stories, and then they're still out there. Look, boy, we're going to show you how to do this right.
It's definitely got a tongue-in-cheek slant, I'd say, but it's not really making fun of the genre per se. It's really just letting the people tell their stories, which was what I was most interested in getting. You'll learn a little bit about how the fireworks work in the hierarchy, but the main emphasis of the documentary is the stories that the people have and what they have to go through and the experiences they've had working the stands, and that's probably the main. And I would say it's got a comedy slant, probably a comedic slant.
I used to, prepare Chinese medicine at home, but I stopped because the whole, I would boil this stuff and the whole apartment would smell like this herb, had this unpleasant odor. So I stopped taking Chinese medicine, even though it was good for me.
Yeah.
But the Chinese always say, good medicine always tastes bad. That it's said that you have to, if you want to get something good, you have to be able to go through the hardships, or taste. Bitterness comes before the sweet taste.
Yeah, my mother says so. Is all the time. It's bitter one. It's good effect.
My name is Johanna Lee, and I have a short called Bitter and Sweet, and it is a short comedic documentary about a couple who work together in an acupuncture store.
Okay.
The whole thing came about because at the time I was in grad school, and we had to shoot a verite film. Go out, the exercise was difficult in the sense that we had to shoot in film. We had to shoot a documentary in film, which we all know doesn't happen anymore for obvious reasons. But so we had 3 days, and my parents, my father, about 10 years ago, changed careers and decided to become an acupuncturist. So it was something that I didn't know that much about, and I thought it would be really interesting. And they had opened up this small clinic in Manhattan. So I took the camera down and shot 3 days worth of material in this acupuncture store. And it turned out to be pretty interesting, There's this scene where my parents have this cat that they love. I mean, they live for this cat. And I'm allergic to cats, but anyway, they have a cat. I don't live with them. Are you allergic to cats? Get away. But they love this cat, and so the cat is in the film. Like, everywhere I could put the cat in the frame with my parents, I did. Sleeping, walking around, whatever. And at some point in the shoot, my dad was like, animals can get acupuncture too, which I was totally blown away by. It's just like not a fact that I knew. And so my dad gave the cat acupuncture, and the cat's name was Sailor. And this cat is like a totally vicious cat, and the cat is like hanging out. It's fine. And I think that's my favorite scene in the film, because this cat that I know is like evil, and it's just lying there, just chilling. And my dad's like giving him the acupuncture, and the cat's just like fine with his, letting him do whatever. So.
And also sometimes they could get hurt on the legs
you know, jumping around.
You look good.
You look great.
Fly home. Okay, bye-bye.
What time you want to go home?
Exactly 6 o'clock.
Exactly 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so Friday is going to be your school is party. They want to do what is that? A speech, something like that. I'm so exciting.
My name is Hector Galan. I'm a filmmaker based in Austin, Texas. And my latest film, Accordion Dreams, is an incredible journey into the world of the accordion. The way I describe this document, it's a music documentary. It's not performance, it's not a concert. It's incorporating the music into a storyline.
Flaco Jimenez followed in the footsteps of his father, the legendary Santiago Jimenez, to create a unique Tex-Mex accordion sound that cuts through all genres.
This latest documentary, Accordion Dreams, is something that really comes from the heart. I've been working on it for several years now. I'm Texas born, Texas raised, from West Texas, and this music really strikes a chord in me and a lot of people here in Texas. And what I wanted to do was share this music to the rest of the country. It's a lively program. I love it. I can see it over and over. And I hope that the people who see this will be touched.
My name is Jessica, and I directed Collide. We all worked together on that.
I think I remember the original idea was sort of like, you know, in that when you're dreaming, you kind of, when I'm deep in sleep at least, you know, you move from one dream to another, but nothing is ever in the same place, but it's all one dream, and it kind of makes sense to you. I guess, you know, we talked about what kind of like sound design we wanted to, you know, accompany the picture and everything. So we had a pretty good feel for what we wanted. A lot of it was just like when we were shooting out in that field at the end, like I walked up and down and walked on gravel. It was just like we kind of passed it around. We didn't have a sound recorder, so whoever wasn't doing something else, they could record sound.
For the films that we've made, the three, Collide, Blink, and Yoke, they're primarily, the emotion is from the visuals and the images, and that's why it's important that we shot it on film, to get the feeling through it.
My name is Leon Mandel.
And I'm Andy Fisher.
And we're with We Pirate Films, and we made a series of short films, and the series is titled Delirium. Delirium 4, which is the fourth and the last episode in the series.
Hence Delirium 4 being the title.
And it's called The Absence of Everything.
And there are three that precede this, and those would be 1, 2, and 3. 4 in all. 4 will be screening at the festival. 1, 2, and 3 will not, but hopefully we will be screening concurrent with the festival at different venues.
And just a reminder for everyone out there, my name is Leon Mandel.
My name is number 4. I'll be screening at the festival. 1 through 3, and Leon will not.
And Delirium is the fourth one.
Hi folks, it's me, Drippy. I think my plane flew through your window.
Is that right?
Yeah, sure am sorry about that.
Your kind has been nothing but trouble ever since you moved into the neighborhood.
One of the things I love about all of these films is
that you're in it.
Well, that's
Right.
one of the things I adore. But one of the things I love is that everyone who was involved in the project, and it's not very many people, everyone was very much devoted to it and passionate about what it is they were doing. Eric Klein, who composed most of the music and did most of the sound,
drunk.
A total drunk. Amazing junkie, but somehow he made it through and created beautiful music for it. Mike Wasilewski, who did the cinematography.
Completely schizophrenic.
Insane. Absolute insanity. He should have been in front of the camera.
There was a whole day of shooting where Mike showed up without his camera, but convinced us, because we're not very intelligent, that his camera was in fact there.
We had to go
So
with it.
we go to watch dailies, and we're in his house, and there's nothing in his house.
But the funny part is that I would say 95% of the footage that made it into the final cut is from that day.
Right, when we didn't even have a camera.
It's beautiful, it really is. Can we ponder on that for a second? So that's
Hold on,
pretty much...
I'm still pondering.
Since we moved to the deluxe apartment in the sky, all that seems to matter is a bigger piece of pie. We're moving on up, and you don't seem to mind.
But the main thing that we're trying to get across is that we've got a series here with 4 episodes, and unfortunately South by Southwest only, or fortunately for us, thank God, South by Southwest accepted the 4th one. Because I think it made the least sense, so they assumed it must be good. I think that's what happened.
We're not doing it as they would, say, in Cuba or Puerto Rico and Colombia.
We don't really try to do anything just for the sake of trying to be different. That combination of energies, it's just really exciting. I mean, the benefit of that is that you end up with a really dynamic record.
Motel room on borrowed time to write the words again. Down to pin it on your dress. The gate opens at 10. The way I think of wishes, all that I can be.
To have all these different styles kind of somehow or other blend.
You don't know where you're going, but everybody seems to end up at the same place together.
It's all music.
This is for the roses, to rest them down on me. That lies before me, the one that sets me free. Rose in the desert sand, something that can.
The guy in my family that sang the most and sang a lot that I heard was my grandfather.
You know, you get to play music, old music from the 40s or 50s or something, and it's fun to get into character.
You know, I just had my first child a couple of years ago, and I want him to know where he's from and where his, roots come from.
We're trying to preserve our culture through our music.
Oh, it's good because they're going to make the new arrangements of the old music.
We set out this time to make the record certainly broader in terms of its musical palette, and I think its geographical palette. Just take the musical influences further out and then see how they come back together.
Let's put it all together. And that's what's beautiful right here. You're gelling all this music right now.
If you see us at the screening, please, even if you didn't like the movie, come up and tell us how great it was.
Oh, especially if you didn't like the movie.
Yeah, because then we get an inflated idea of how good we are.
It's a cool thing, I mean, us 3 together, man, I mean, it's like
it's never, the fun never stops, man. You know?
It's a punch.
It's a, it's a punch, whatever. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Well, she said 3 days of shooting. That means like not 3 8-hour days, but more like 3
24-hour days.
18-hour days. And I just want to say something about that Murphy guy. He's a genius because that law that he made, it's so true. Everything that can possibly go wrong, it's going to go wrong.
We saw a fat guy and a guy in a hat on TV. They're in the magic box.